In software engineering, we are taking chapter number 8, Understanding Requirements. Now, developing a use case. Now we want to make a use case. We want to understand the requirement, elicit the requirement, elaborate the requirement. For that, normally UML, this is the de facto standard of the industry, Unified Modeling Language. So whenever we'll be making a use case, there will be two different things you have to understand. In use case, you will make an actor and there will be an end user, and they are not necessarily the similar entity. So end user will be using it finally, like one person can act as four roles. For example, a user may play different roles. But whenever we are talking about use case, then the actor you are going to define, actor you are going to take, two things you have to keep in mind. First, the actor has to be external to the system. And the second thing is only one role an actor will play. Only one role. Let us take an example. There is a machine operator, which will be the end user, and who is interacting with the, say, control computer for manufacturing cell that are number of robots and numerically controlled machine. To be easy with this example, a machine operator will interact with a software. The software will do certain things. So when we carefully review the requirement, what do we see? That the software, there should be different modes, roles for interaction. That is, we need four different actors. One role, one actor. Okay, just example that four roles are, we are just making it up. So programming mode is there, test mode is there, monitoring mode is there, troubleshooting mode is there. You can even think that there will be four logins for different people. You can say that. So we have to define four actors. Four actors, because four roles are there. Actor number one is the programmer. Actor number two is the tester. Actor number three is the monitor. And the fourth one is the troubleshooter. Okay. Now, the machine operator, because he will be a human being, he can play all the roles. But we need four roles, so four actors will be there. But one need to understand that when we know the requirement, when we try to elicit the requirement, this is an evolutionary activity. So you might get, say, some actors in the first iteration. Say in the second iteration, you will get secondary actor. Now, the actor are primary and secondary. So the second question comes is, what is the difference between a primary actor and a secondary actor? How will you define it? So the primary actor and secondary actor are the actors you need to put in use cases, and the primary actor is the one who is going to interact directly with the system frequently again and again. The secondary actor will be helping the primary actor to get his activity or her activity or a system activity done. An actor can be a human being, an actor can be a system. Okay. So when you are doing, say, some shopping, credit card processing system will be the secondary actor because it is helping the customer, which is the primary actor. Okay, you got the idea? Let me tell you again. Primary actor is interacting the software or a system to do certain function. It will directly frequently work with the software. And the secondary actors, it is going to act as a support for the primary actor. Okay, once actor has been identified, then the use cases can be developed. So first thing is to know the actors. Now, in order to make a use case, there are certain questions that you need to answer. So he gave certain questions. If you are able to answer that, then only you will be able to make a good use case. First is, have you identified primary actor and secondary actor? Who is directly interacting? Who is not directly interacting? What are the goals, objectives of each actor? And when the use case story, because every use case is a story. You can also call it as a usage scenario. So what are the preconditions that should exist? Then the main task or the functions, the activities which an actor is performing. And in this usage scenario, what are the exceptions? What are the constraints? What are the things he has to know? What are the variations? Because actor can act in a different way, and because of some event or a trigger, he can act in a certain different way. Okay, so there has to be all variation catered. Have you taken care of that? When an actor is interacting with the software, what are the information it is going to acquire, produce, change? That is the information inflow, outflow, how it is going to take place. And if something in the external environment it changes, will the actor will be informed or not informed? How is going to know? And what information does he actually require from the system? Does the actor wish to be informed about certain unexpected changes? So whenever we are talking about an actor in a use case, there are certain questions which Jacobson has said you need to know and answer. Now we are developing a proper use case. The use case for this, we will take an example of home security system, which is normally found in all the houses nowadays. So this is a safe home and we are trying to get the requirements. So we are eliciting the requirement of a safe requirement because something can happen, We will define 4 actors here. The person who is going to interact, homeowner, 4 actors, okay, setup manager. He may be a owner normally, but he may be playing a different role. That is homeowner and setup manager, the roles are different. The person can be same when he is using. The sensors, there will be different sensors. One sensor will be, say, for illegal entry, that is the motion sensor. Second is for monoxide. Third is for fire. Fourth is for, say, any other, situation you want. Then there will be a central station that monitors this safe home product, you can say, home security function. So there will be a monitoring and response subsystem. So we are having 4 actors. So let us take one of the actor and then try to define, because all making will take some time. So we will be considering the homeowner actor. So how this homeowner, how is going to interact with this particular system or a software which is there in the system. So he is going to interact. There is only one way he can interact, that is through the control panel. Like the mobile, we have the screen. So we have a screen here and some keyboard. So he will enter a password. That is how he will start the interaction. This is how normally things are done in your mobile also, in your computer also. He will inquire about the status and status of the sensors, because sensor will give you all the information and it will save you. And the panic button, if at all it is there for emergency, and arm or disarm the system or activate or deactivate the security system. Now the basic use case for this system activation. Now what is the use case for system? Because when he is going to come, he will activate the system. So what is the basic use case before that? First of all, the home user will come to this particular screen. He will observe the safe home. When he'll come, he'll see whether it is ready or not. If it is not ready, that is very clear that some of the doors or the windows are open. That is not ready means the system is not able to work. You have to first close the windows and all these so that the sensor can sense and start working. Okay. So the homeowner is going to, when he physically closes the doors, etc., he can key in the password. It can be 4-digit. So when the password is there, there has to be a valid password in the system. Then only it can check if it is correct. There can be some beep, say control beep, and it will reset itself. If the password is correct, it will wait for further action because homeowner is there. He's going to enter something. So now he is ready to give stay or away. When he is staying, that is, he don't need the motion sensors. When he is away, he wants all the sensors. So when he is staying inside the house, only the perimeter sensors, that is, say carbon monoxide or say water flood or fire sensors, this will be activated. Because in a house he will be moving, his kids and all family members will be moving. So this will not be required. Away activates all the sensors, because once you are away, then you will need the system to be activated. And when the activation occurs, the control panel should give you certain light, for example, a red alarm light. So this is the basic use case for a system activation when a control panel is used to interact with the system. Now, this is the content what we saw, but we would like to show how the actor is going to interact with the system, and we'll try to alleviate, that is high level story interaction between the actor and the system. So for that, Cogburn said he suggested a template because everyone will be making use case how to make this. There has to be a template. So Cogburn gave us a very good template. You can follow it, you can not follow it, but you need to know what template is there. The first is use case. So you can name the use case, that is say initiate monitoring. Who is the actor? Primary actor. Of course, it will be the homeowner. What is the goal in context? That is he wants to set the system to monitor sensors when the user is inside or outside. What are the preconditions required? That the password has to be there because he will enter the password and all the sensors should be recognizable. Different sensors will be connected from here. Okay, that is how the safe home will work. So use case, primary actor, goal in context, preconditions, and the trigger. Now the trigger is when he set the system, the alarm functions will be activated, and when he reset the system, it should go. So the scenario will be, this is the scenario, this is the usage scenario. First, homeowner, he'll observe the control panel, he'll enter the password, he'll put stay or away, that is he is staying inside or going outside, and there will be a red light. So this is the template part, and the next part in the template is exception. If control panel is not ready, the user or the homeowner has to go outside, close the door, close the window. Then password is incorrect, he has to re-enter the password. If password is not recognized, then he has to contact certain backend. So there has to be the exceptions. This any service provider. When stay he is selecting, the control panel should beep twice. A stay light should be there. All the perimeter sensors are activated. When he is staying, motion sensors are not activated. When he is selecting away, then the control panel should beep 3 times. All sensors are activated. What is the priority for the software? This particular use case is very essential. It must be implemented. When available, it has to be given in the first increment. What is the frequency of use of this use case? Many times per day, because the user will be using again and again. And what is the channel to actor? He is going to interact the MMI, man-machine interface, or human-machine interface. It should be via the control panel's interface. So the next part in your template is secondary actors. It can be support technicians. Sensor is also a secondary actor. Now, what are the channels to secondary actors? If you don't know, you can just leave it. What are the support technicians? How you are going to support through phone lines, means how you are going to get the support. Then the sensors, hardwired and radio frequency interfaces. Hardwired, there will be certain thing hardwired. Using RF, certain interfaces will be there. And apart from that, you have also to write open issues. That is, what are the things need to be catered? Should there be activate? Password can be given in say one short word. And should the control panel display some other message? If users start, say the password is 5439. Now when he enters 5, how much time it needs to put 3 till 9, 5439? And is there a way to deactivate the system before it actually activates? That is 30 second, 1 minute time, so that he just activate and goes out of the house in 1 minute or 2 minutes like this. Now this use case is very much related to your analysis model. Because when you are making an analysis model, you are actually, there are various ways, because there is object-oriented analysis, structured analysis, and it gives you certain information. Analysis model is basically a model to analyze your requirement. That is, it will give you the description of what are the informational, what are the functional, what are the behavioral domains of the system. Because how system is going to work, what is the data, how it is going to function, what are the behaviors, what are the events, what are the triggers. These are all have to be catered. Okay. So these models, analysis model will change, because every time you make it and sit with stakeholder, it's going to change. The analysis model is what? The definition, or you can say the idea of analysis model, is the given snapshot of the present requirement. That is, for example, you have 1 to 50 requirement right now. 50 requirement, you have, this is the analysis model. Now after say 1 month, 2 month, the requirements are 1 to 55. The 5 has increased, or say 10 has decreased, so 1 to 50. So the snapshot or the picture of that requirements at any given point of time is the analysis model. I hope you got the idea. The requirement snapshot is only the analysis model. So this, as you go, as this analysis model will involve, your requirement will become stable and you will provide a very good foundation for your design. So what comes under analysis model? As I said, you will use UML. Okay, that is, somebody says, some people says that the use case is the only mode of representation of requirement because it will represent the analysis model. But there are people who are saying if you are making a big software, then you need different viewpoints. That is, you need more to analysis model, not just having the use case. Because the more viewpoints you take, you will get more omissions, more inconsistencies, more ambiguity that is present in the software, that is, or you can say in the requirements. So all this omission, inconsistency, ambiguity in the requirements can be say avoided using different viewpoints. So you cannot just be taking use case diagram. There are different ways, as I said, object oriented analysis and structured analysis, etc. So now I'll just come to the last point, which is here there are different levels of elaboration you can do, and this will be based on scenario based representation. What I'm trying to suggest here is scenario based means we are including different viewpoints. You are a different user, I am a different user. Okay. For example, the basic use case, and when you take the basic use case, for example, homeowner we took, and their corresponding use case diagram, this will evolve. This will evolve because we can use some template based use cases. For example, you have this UML activity diagram for eliciting and representing the requirements using the use case. So use cases is one thing, then making an activity diagram, and we'll talk about the state diagram also. So these will increase the requirement level. This is the simple say use case. Okay, how homeowner is interacting, what functions does he want, what are the primary actors, what are the secondary actors. But in order to elicit the requirement, there can be multiple levels. For example, you have to conduct meeting in first. You can use QFD, not QFD. You have to prioritize the requirement, define the constraints, the functions and the classes. Then you can start creating the use cases. Once you are creating a use case, you have to draw a proper use case diagram. But in this, you have to make an actor. You have to write the scenario. You have to complete the template as the Cogburn template I suggested you. Coming to the class-based diagram or class-based elements, because in unified modeling language, there are different say figures which are being suggested. So each use case or each use case scenario, usage scenario, it also implies certain set of objects, because when a user is going to interact with the software, there are certain set of objects. What are these objects? Objects will come from some class. Objects will be the instantiation of class. That is the object which are going to work. So these objects are nothing but they are coming from the classes. Classes are nothing but collection of things that have similar attributes and common behavior. For example, in a university, you can have a class of girls, boys, and teachers, supporting staff like this. So there can be different classes and one object. So one object will represent all the men. One object will represent all the women, like this, okay? So this is the objects we are going to make, because these objects, this will be manipulated as actor is going to interact with the system. So basically we are talking about the variables and functions. So in UML class diagram, which I showed you here, if you see on the right top, sensor class. So in a UML class diagram, which can be used to depict a sensor class. If you are taking that same example of safe home, this is a sensor. So diagram is basically this list. The first list you see, They are the attributes. In a class, we will have variables and functions. Variables are nothing but attributes we are talking about. For example, name, type, location, area, characteristic for a specific sensor. Okay. Now, what are the functions or the operation which sensor is going to do? Identify, enable, disable, reconfigure. So, the first part is variable and the functions which are going to work on this variable. So, this is from we started with the actors and now we are coming up to the classes. Other analysis modeling elements. Here the classes, how they collaborate, how the classes are going to have relationship. Are you going to inherit certain classes? What are the interaction between the classes? This also comes under the analysis modeling. Okay. So this analysis modeling consists of right from the use case development till here and again going up to the behavioral elements. Now every elements have a behavior because it is going to change. The state is going to change. Whenever an actor is going to act to the system, it is interacting with the objects. Objects will be interacting with the variables and the functions. That is the attributes and the operations. The state will change. So state diagram is one method of representing the behavior of the system because it is showing different states. Because every time some event is there. Because you are standing, sometimes you are running, sometimes you are sleeping. It is your state. So state is the observable mode of behavior for the particular use case we are talking about, for the particular say scenario we are talking about. So state, it indicates what actions are taken as a result of particular event. If user does something, what are the actions need to be taken? For example, you have safe home control panel and it is taking some input. It is taking some input. So what are the say reading commands? So this is just a state diagram I am showing. The state name is reading commands. What can be the variable? What can be the functions? That is the variable and activities. So system status is ready right now. It is the present behavior. Now it will change. If it is not ready, the things will change. I hope you got the idea. System status is ready for all you see is for ready. But if the system status is not ready, all display message, display status will change. And the state activities will also change. It will give you the behavioral elements. Analysis pattern. Now this is we are going to see in the next discussion. Till then, thank you so much. Take care of yourself.